Hi, comic book readers, and welcome to Off the Rack. I'm Sal.
And I'm Tiffany.
This is a comic book show that we produce live here on ComicPop Returns, a subsidiary of youtube.com/ComicPop, where we take the books in the past week, recap them, review them, tell you what we thought about, and then give you recommendations for books that are coming out this week that we think you should pick up. We also talk about comic movies and stuff when those come out. We just last week talked about The Batman, and now we're getting right back into comics. I'm very excited to talk about what
just
comes out.
last week.
I know. It just changes the world, and then we just move on like usual. That's the nature of disposable content.
Yeah, and it just feels like things have such a short lifespan.
Yeah,
now.
they sure do. Unless we insist on them,
it's crazy
not having that. Unless
crazy.
we keep insisting on it. But unless you want to keep relevant in this space, you got
no time. You gotta keep moving.
You gotta keep moving. Gotta keep moving
keep
forward.
Them in your hearts.
That's right. Yeah. Just watch it over and over again.
Spider heart.
Right. Exactly. We want to thank all of you for joining us. And of course, if you want to sponsor today's episode, you can do so by using Super Chats and ask a question or comment, and we will read it here on the program live. And then it'll be recorded for posterity, and you'll be on the show. And also, if you want to listen to the show via audio, you can always find Off the Rack New Comics over on Spotify and everywhere else where comic book podcasts and other podcasts.
Let us whisper into your ears on your commute.
Right? Why not?
Get those AirPods going.
Yeah.
Just get us right in there.
And if you like us a lot, if you just really are a big fan and you are anywhere near driving distance from Dover, New Jersey, you can meet us in person at the Kubert School of Art in Dover, New Jersey. You may have seen, if you're an old school comic book fan, an ad for them in your comic books. You may have also heard about them if you're in any way aware of comic book production, being the only comic book school in the United States.
Yes.
This is going to happen on March 26th. That's a Saturday. That's less than 2 weeks away. We're going to be doing a live performance at 2 p.m. Admission is free, totally free. You just go to the Joe Kubert School or Dewey's Comic City.
Yeah.
They're in the same building.
We'd love to see you.
We'd love to meet you, see you, do all that kind of stuff. And hey, listen, here's a little tip. If you're looking for that, to do that, if you're like, I don't know if I want to watch these guys for a couple hours, and that be my only reason to drive out there. Well, you can go direct to Dewey's Comic City around let's say between 12 and 1. Go there, shop for comics, then go see the live show that we're doing, then go back downstairs, see if you missed anything, go out again.
Exactly.
Yeah. Hey, and if you got time, maybe you can go to the Toy Con that's happening that weekend as well. That's in Wayne though, so screw them. But listen, that's it. Let's jump into some books. There's a ton.
I've seen in the chat so far that I look like a time traveling detective, which I'm down for.
That's a good.
Also, Carly Cooper.
I don't care for it, but I'll take it. Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
I just found this jacket the other day in the closet, and I was like,
I dig it.
I need an excuse to wear this.
Yeah,
because I thought I actually thought I had donated it, and so then I saw it. I was like, spider shirt.
Yeah, it's a great combo. I love it.
I don't know.
Before we get started, I also want to issue a kind of apology. I accidentally released 2 shorts on the main Comic Pop channel because I was going through. We're moving shorts from our YouTube channel about shorts to the main channel, youtube.com/ComicPop. It shouldn't interfere too much with your regular viewing habits, but you're going to see shorts on that channel. Supposedly it helps. We'll see what happens. I don't know.
All right.
But you're going to see some shorts, and we did release 2 shorts in a row, which I didn't mean to do. We're going to be doing shorts pretty much every day, but I didn't want to, I didn't want to do 2 in a row, and that was a mistake.
That's okay.
Because I was going back and grabbing some of our old shorts that we had uploaded about a year ago and re-releasing them.
Sure.
Because they'd already been released, so it shouldn't have given you a trigger.
Listen, and I know you won't say this, but I'll say this. But at the same time he was doing this, he was also exporting this week's back issues and finishing up the edits and all that stuff. So he had a lot happening.
I did. I have a lot happening.
I would not worry about making a tiny error like that.
No, thank you.
Are we also going to talk about some books that came out
last week?
Yeah, when we would have talked about them.
I guess so.
There's a couple things that happened.
Yeah, a few books did come out that.
And it's really, I just want to mention some opinions. And honestly, some of them at this point, I'm like, what week did they come out?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Right. I don't even know.
I don't know.
So yeah, I guess we could do that. But before we jump into the books, we also wanted to mention that we have we talked at length about Comixology and how they screwed up and what they've been doing. I will say that if you did have Comixology, the app on your phone, it works exactly as it did.
Kind of.
Kind of.
There is one major complaint that I have.
Yes, and what
I have a
complaint
major
might that be?
complaint about the Comixology phone app, and it's the same complaint I've had,
Mm-hmm.
but they have yet to address this.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they ever will address this, but my complaint is that, like, for example, today I was like, ooh, there's a couple books I definitely wanted to pick up
Yes.
to read for today's show, right?
Mhm.
So I went back today and I went to New Comics.
Yes.
And you know what the new comics are there right now?
No.
They're all the ones that are for this week, and you can pre-order them.
Oh.
So now, instead of just being like, oh, I know, like, because sometimes I know exactly the title, right? But
Mhm.
sometimes I'm like, wait, did I miss anything? Let me
Yeah.
go through and I want to look. And it used to be with old Comixology, you used to be able to go by the date.
Yes.
If you knew what date the book came out, at least to a certain point, like
Mhm.
within like 1 to 2 weeks, you could go back and grab the books,
Yeah.
right? And it wouldn't be a big deal. This I had to actually go and utilize another site in order to get the books that came out and be like, oh, okay, good. I want to look for this, and then I had to search them by name. It just added extra steps that I wasn't looking for
Mhm.
today.
Yeah.
And it's such a small thing that, like, I'm sure no one's gonna really complain about, because I think most people just buy their books when they come out that first like few days, right? But like for someone like me, where it's like sometimes I don't grab them all, or there's something I'm like, oh, I do want to go and check that out. It's just a hassle.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just a
that's true.
hassle. But anyway, we did solve another issue today.
Yes.
for us.
This is with the guided view and the issues with viewing it on a desktop computer. Tiffany, what was the solution that you discovered?
So I looked it up because I today had an opportunity to actually read on desktop, which I almost never do. Usually I use my phone app. So I looked it up and I was like, how do I read this on my computer?
Mhm.
Well, show me how to do it on desktop. I want it bigger, right?
Yeah.
And you can go through the Kindle Cloud Reader, because everything will be in your Kindle library, but like it's not obvious in the new interface where to access that Kindle Cloud library.
Mhm.
So you just go, you can look it up, but like you can search those terms or go to read.amazon.com/Kindle-library.
Mhm.
And that should bring up your Kindle library. I had to go in for me and I had to turn on that it would show comics, but now it shows all of my comics that I've purchased in the order I purchased them.
That's
and
great.
in fact, Sal and I have books shared because like we have like a family thing going on.
Mhm.
And so like we have 2 different accounts, but somehow we've made it work where it's like he can read my books.
Yes.
I don't know how that
and
works.
she can read my books.
Yeah. So that's like a bonus. I'm sure a lot of you already figured that out, but like it was one of those things that was just kind of a thorn in our side, and so we were happy to have found a nice solution, because Sal is definitely a desktop reader.
That's true.
I am typically a mobile reader myself, but I was like, I wanted to switch it up.
Yeah.
Today.
That's true. So, all right, I'll talk really quick about this book and its connection with the book that came out the following week. That is to say, Daredevil: Woman Without Fear #3.
Sure.
From Chip Zdarsky and De La Torre. This issue came out the week prior to the new episode, or the new issue of Devil's Reign, and as a result of that, the last page reveal was spoiled, or at the very least, they spoiled a plot point that was revealed in the last few pages of Devil's Reign.
Right.
So basically, you either had to read it and be spoiled, or wait a week after buying this book. Again, let's just talk about the book itself. The art is fine. It's actually quite engaging. It's a lot of fun. De La Torre does a nice job rendering human figures and action sequences. It's a really terrific looking book. The writing is, of course, impeccable. It's written by Chip Zdarsky. There are some fun, like, the whole thing is Elektra kind of like balancing her ascension and the mantle of Daredevil with her relationship with Matt and her desire to see Matt succeed, and how it joins with her mission to recruit Matt into the Hand by way of her mentor.
Okay.
Also, there's a fight with Kraven in there, and it's fun. It reads incredibly fast. The art is, again, quite good, and the fight with Kraven is fun, but it's not as visceral as I would have hoped, and it's not as exciting. Of course, if you read these comics, like, Kraven isn't really Kraven; it's a clone, but it's basically the same Kraven. That way, everybody has their cake and eats it too.
Mhm.
But yeah, there is this kind of surprise, and I was like, really? Like, not only was I surprised by the reveal, it's funny, when I read this issue, I was like, I don't care, because Devil's Reign is fine, but it's not thrilling, and so I was fine with spoiling it for myself. I was like, let's see what they've got.
Mhm.
And when I read it, I went, oh, I know exactly what you're doing,
Mhm.
and that's pretty fun. And then I read Devil's Reign.
Right.
But yeah, as far as the book itself, if you are interested in just more Elektra Daredevil, pick it up.
Okay.
But if you're not, or if you think it's essential reading for Devil's Reign, it ain't. You can skip it. But it's just a book to read Daredevil, Elektra fight Kraven,
Mm-hmm.
but it does not stand on its own, and it will never be like it's only 3 issues, so it can't be collected in a trade on its own. And if it is, it's going to be overpriced, and it won't read well in a year. So it's fine. It's just a compliment to Devil's Reign.
They'll probably just put it in there with it.
They probably will. That's my guess. But even that, but it doesn't fit well with Devil's Reign. Like, it doesn't work. You'd have to have a Devil's Reign like massive omnibus, or because there's a lot of tie-ins. None of them have anything to do with Devil's Reign. It's kind of weak.
Okay.
But it's a good book.
Mm-hmm.
It's fun. If you like Daredevil and you're reading Daredevil, it's just more Daredevil.
Mm-hmm. More Daredevil.
Who doesn't want that? I also read Devil's Reign X-Men from Jerry Duggan and Phil Noto. I think we talked about this one.
I think so. There's part 1 and 2, right? Isn't 2 out? Or
yeah, 2 is 2 out, because I didn't read 2 yet. That'd be too bad. That was where I talked about how like there's an interaction with Spider-Man. But it was great. The art's fantastic.
Yeah.
and
We
it's a
did
fun
talk about
story,
that
so
one. We definitely talked about that one.
Good.
I thought number 2 was out.
If it is, I'll buy it.
That could have been when I was looking at previews, and I thought, so that might be out this week.
Yeah.
I think it is out this week.
Okay.
Hi, catch him back up.
Yeah.
It's all good.
I also read Amazing Spider-Man from Kelly Thompson, Jed McKay, and Fran Gillane, Sarah Pacelli, and Zay Carlos. 3 different artists to write a regularly sized issue, but 2 different scripters.
But they are
regularly sized.
These are coming out like weekly, right?
It's either bi-weekly or weekly. Yeah,
all the artists are kind of working on all the books.
They are.
Right?
Yes.
So that makes sense that it's less about like the getting an issue out. But I mean,
well,
I suppose it might have been easier if they had just given each artist like, all right, you're going to do this book this week, and then like you'll come around for another like 3 weeks. But I don't know. I don't know their speeds. And
my issue is just like, but why? Like, it's not worth it.
All the
work.
Okay.
To get this thing out. It feels not unlike the Nick Spencer run, where it was like a mad dash to the finish line. Like, oh my God, we gotta wrap this up. But they also like painted themselves into a corner where it's like, but it's not that complicated. Why does it need to be this intense? Ben is chasing after his memories, but he has the core memories about Janine. He's fighting against the Beyond Corporation because Kelly Thompson wrote this one, Misty Knight, and whoever is in this, the Daughters of the Dragon. And it's funny how like
Colleen Wing,
thank you. But throughout this series, like when Kelly Thompson jumps onto duties for writing this book, suddenly those characters will just they'll crash through a wall in a car and be like, "We're in the book again." It's funny just how like certain writers when you have like 3 different writers on this book, you have different priorities.
Sure.
I can't recommend this series. But I can see where it's going, and I understand why. If you're reading, like, if you're just into monthly comics and you're just like, oh man, I just want to read an adventure about Spider-Man and like high flying heroics and action with cars, and I want a Spider-Man book that's choked with characters that are all doing things and quipping and fighting and kicking, then you're really gonna enjoy this, because that's exactly what this is. And it's got silly bullshit like sandwiches that are alive, and but at the core of this, what's really going on is they're setting up a new Ben Reilly series, and obviously he's not going to get his memories back. Like they did this whole thing where they like took away his Peter Parker memories, but kept like the memories of him being Ben Reilly. So like, okay, yeah, we're further separating Ben Reilly from Peter Parker. We want one Peter Parker. We want to make Ben Reilly not like a copy of Peter Parker.
Sure.
So we're going to like, he's like, I've got to get my memories back. That's what I'm going to do. Here we go. So but you can see the ending from a mile away. Also, they like merged Morbius's blood with the Lizard, because Morbius has a movie coming out, and we want to make the Lizard in any way part of the story, so he's in it.
He's got big wings on the cover. Does he have big wings in the book?
Yeah, he's got big wings in the book. But
is he like a dragon?
It's a vampire lizard.
Oh, because of the
Morbius.
Oh, yeah. I didn't know if you combined a vampire and a lizard, you got a dragon.
Well, it's a fake comic book, so you can do whatever you want. But it's fine. It's thoroughly fine. It's what you do when you get like 17 different creators on one like weekly series. It's just because everyone's a professional and everyone's doing the best work they can. So,
Okay.
and when you have all those creative people doing the best work they can on a book that nobody really seems to be excited about,
Mm-hmm.
and when I say that, I mean like seemingly creatively,
Yeah.
like nobody is doing. They're doing their best work for a book that no one is for no one's favorite book. Like that. It seems like it's just a book that they're on.
Right. This is like it's Ben Percy, right?
No.
Didn't he lead
It's
this?
Zeb Wells.
Zeb Wells, thank you. Oh my gosh,
But he didn't even write anything about this.
Right. I'm sorry, but what I was trying to get to was like
Zeb Wells is taking over Spider-Man after this, and he's like kind of like the progenitor of this whole Beyond.
Did he have
thing.
any issues before this where he was just writing it? But that's such a weird like.
I know.
It's a I don't know. That's
a mess.
I don't feel like that's a fair shake for him.
No, but he's gonna get a whole series by himself.
Well, he will, but like your first taste of him,
right
now, like that's what you're gonna think of, and now he's gonna have to fight about either fight against that or live up to it, depending on where you stand as a reader.
He's gonna have no trouble. John Romita Jr. is jumping back on the book with him.
Well,
he's gonna do a big bombastic thing.
Well, yes,
everyone
I'm sure.
The thing is, this is thoroughly forgettable. Like nothing in this book will be like, oh man, remember the Beyond series? That was great.
But I mean, before that, like he gets a couple of issues, but those issues had to lead into this.
Yeah. Well, those issues are this. Like it's just all this.
Yeah, and I think that sucks. Is that like this is where you're starting your run.
He'll be fine.
No one will remember this is where he started his run.
No. No, and he doesn't. I'm sure he doesn't want that either, because he's gonna have a solo credit on Amazing Spider-Man coming up.
Yeah.
And that's the one where he's making the big swings.
Big, like, ta-da.
So good for him.
Swings.
Yeah. So let's jump into some super chats and then you can take over. So
because I got a couple of books that I want to talk about from last week.
Okay. Brian Rollins. Yeah. Thank you, Marvel, for ruining the surprise in Devil's Reign 5 and the Daredevil tie-in the week before. Thanks for all the great videos every week. Thanks, Brian. Ekuzodia says, hey, Sal and Tiff, just bought a gecko, named him Kirby after Jack Kirby. Without you, I wouldn't even know who that is. Keep up the good work. Oh, well, I'm glad we could introduce you to such a seminal character.
And welcome to your new scaly family friend.
That's right.
Family member.
Family
I was like
friend.
Fur baby, scale baby. I know, I was trying to make that. I was making the jump. It's not work.
Matthew Chalaga, thank you very much for your very generous super chat. It was pointed out to me that Frank's new chest symbol looks like a white dragon symbol and the helmet from Peacemaker. Now, every time I look at it, that's all I see. Now his symbol will be even more co-opted by the right-wing nut jobs. I think that's a reach. I don't think that's what it looks like, honestly. I mean, even if it does, nobody remembers White Dragon, and I wouldn't worry about it. I genuinely wouldn't worry about it. But we'll talk about Frank and his status quo very soon.
We'll definitely get to that.
Spicy says, new Punisher run feels like a Kate's book. Best thing since Kate's Venom ended. Watched all back issues. Thank you for helping me find my love for comics again. Hey, that's what we're here for, man.
Yeah, you enjoyed Donuary?
Yeah, hopefully you did. And if you did, then you might have enjoyed on this channel our chat with Donnie Cates, which apparently happened because of Donuary. But Donnie talks, I think, in that episode about how influenced how much admiration he has for Jason Aaron and how he would love to. If you told him that Jason Aaron sounded like him, I'm sure he'd blush. No?
Yeah.
Because of how much reverence he has for Aaron's work. King's Port Cal, I finally saw No Way Home. It was cool, but I was crying by the third act. Do you think hero films should be more fun? Also, new cat's name is Tiff. Wow.
Oh. Hey, first of all, congrats on the new cat.
Yes.
That's amazing.
Yeah, great name.
I agree. But no, seriously, congrats on the new family member as well.
Yep.
Yeah, I've got favorites here in terms between Gecko and Cat, but do a little bit more.
Maybe.
But yay, that's awesome, and I hope you have a long years together with them. And trust me, they're gonna be amazing, but also make you crazy.
Yeah,
in the best way.
And I think hero films can be whatever they need to be for the character, right? Like, I would hope that Moon Knight is dark and cool and gritty. It doesn't have to be fun. It just, as long as it's,
reflective of the character, or at least the spirit of the character.
Bingo.
I think sometimes it depends, because it's with certain characters, with anything, listen, I'm just going to pull from Bob Ross here and be you got to have the dark to have the light, you know what I mean? Because it helps to uplift them. And so I think movies try to balance that, within the hour and a half to 3.5 hours, depending on the length of your movie. They have to balance those ups and downs so that like you feel those emotions in a short amount of time.
Yeah.
So like for them to have those, especially if you have like a movie like or character like Spider-Man, where it's like you're going to do more than one movie, they're trying to balance those movies to give you the different emotions so that like the next one or the one after that, like you get a different sensation or like, maybe there's more hope or more, joy.
Yeah, absolutely. Bottle Cap says, "Hey guys, my first time catching you guys live, and I'm so happy to be here. Stay nerdy, folks. You too, Bottle Cap. Thank you very much for being here, and welcome to the live show." Cambo and loving the fresh cut, Sal, and loving the shirt, Tiffany.
Thank you.
Well, I'm very much enjoying it myself. Tiffany did the cuts herself. Ray Farr, hi guys. I found your channel about 2 months ago, and I've been hooked ever since. You guys are on the red letter media of comics, LMAO. I'm wondering if Sal has any advice for upcoming teachers. Love you. Well, thank you very much, Ray, and I'll take that compliment. I do appreciate it, man. As far as being a new teacher, there's a lot of work involved, and it's a crazy time. Like things are exponentially changing from when I was a teacher to what teachers now. The amount of like work and effort and obstacles they have are, far more nuanced than they ever were for me. Try to keep your work ahead, like try to get ahead of it, be adaptive. Keep a record of everything. It's you are in defense mode at all times as a teacher. So be careful. And be positive. Like, you never know who's listening and who's watching you or who's reporting back. And helicopter parents are even more helicoptery than ever, and they're expecting like weekly updates. Make friends with your colleagues, and also, of course, be aware of what benefits the school can give you as a professional and what protections they offer. It's just a really scary, crazy profession now, and it's like I don't envy any teachers now. Also, there is a bit of a shortage, or at the very least, like it's tough. So try to lean on that.
Yeah, and I would say too, like, okay, so there's definitely the like pros and cons to where you decide that you're going to enter into teaching. Not that I've been a teacher at all, but I do work in a school, but it's a private school. And so it's a very different environment. One that, listen, private school teachers don't get tenure. And so like if tenure is the thing that you're after, that's not going to be the arena for you. However, it comes with its like bonuses as well, because it's like if you work at most private schools, they have very small class sizes. You're going to have a lot more support because it's a very different style of environment, especially depending on the type of private school you seek if you choose to do that. But you're probably going to have a little more opportunities, and maybe you won't have, you probably have about the same amount of say in your department because there's going to still be a department head and such. But like the fact is, it's like if you are looking for like to make a real difference, like you can do that both arenas in different ways. So it really just comes down to what it is you're looking for to get from the experience. Do you want small class sizes? Do you want to have like more like effect on a small amount of students, or do you want to be in like what's going to probably be a larger class size in a public school, just trying to make their day-to-day better? It's entirely up to you, and that both are good avenues to follow.
It's true. Heartless Fang, couldn't be there for your 100K, but I've been watching you guys since 2015 and plan on watching you guys for 7 more years. Congrats again on 100K. Thank you very much, Fang.
Thank you.
And listen, it's available here on this channel now. So if you ever want to catch up, it's there. Almost 8 hours of it.
Wow.
Alden Tolbert, imagine a Dark Phoenix in No Way Home as a Spider Slayer sent by Mysterio. That'd be neat, I suppose. I don't see why they would do that, but it's interesting nonetheless. Gianluca Zillo, greetings from Italy to you and the population. Thanks so much for being my entertainment comfort zone for the last 6 years. Wish you all the best. Well, thank you very much, man.
Yeah, thank you.
And grazie for your support.
We had a little lag, but I think we're good.
Oh, good. Ray Farr, I have another question. Is there any interest for you guys to talk about the boys comics? I love the show, but I'd love to see more opinions about it. I don't like them, so I don't like talking about them. The show is better, but I, again, can't, like, I'm not interested. Like, I liked the first season. I have to wait. Like, I have to get back into it because I know season 3 is coming, like, or it's here. But I'm also not interested in any spinoffs either, so I'm good. An Elephant says, Sal, have you ever considered dressing like Alf and calling yourself Salf? No, I've never considered that. Though I will say I did at one point in my life dress in a full head to toe Alf costume. So that's all I'll say
Were you
about that.
not Self?
I was not. Nobody
Oh.
thought that would be a thing to say.
Okay.
So what do you got, Tiffany?
What week did She-Hulk come out?
I don't know. Like, I think it was 2 weeks ago, 2 or 3 weeks ago.
All right, let's talk about She-Hulk.
All
Just
right,
because I think you
She-Hulk.
read it as well.
I did read it. Yeah, She-Hulk number 2.
Yeah, we're not really going to get into this too much. It's just, hey, She-Hulk has a book because She-Hulk has a show coming up.
Yep.
And I got to tell you, it was a lot of fun.
Yes, I also really enjoy She-Hulk. I also was surprised to learn that it's a 5-issue miniseries. And I only saw that because it's in the preview. It's not on the book at all.
I'm not surprised by that, but I think that that's probably why it's so strong, because I think comic book companies are realizing that some writers are super strong when you give them a mini versus if you give them something ongoing, because ongoing is scary and that's where you get so much decompression.
Yeah,
right?
That's true.
But like, you give them a mini and they're like, hey, listen, I'm going to do 5 issues. I'm going to be paid for all 5 issues and I'm not going to be canceled before those 5 issues come
That's
out.
true.
Like, here is my story and I'm sticking to it.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is written by Rainbow Rowell with art by Roge Antonio. The book looks great.
Yep.
Really like the look of this book. It's like, it's so funny because it's very modern looking, but there are occasionally some panels in this book that like straight up give me the vibe of like what your mind's eye might think of when you think of like older comic book art, like how you remember it being, how like, like, oh, it's like good looking and all this stuff. And then you see it and you're like, it's good.
Yeah.
But like, it doesn't always look, not all of it. Some of older comic book art is spectacular and
Yes.
like unmatched. But like sometimes you're like, oh, maybe it wasn't quite as fluid or was a little stiff or whatever. But like this, it makes me think of that. I don't know why.
Absolutely.
This is simultaneously a She-Hulk book and also a like Jack of Hearts mystery book.
Yeah. Well, it's a resurrection book for Jack of Hearts. That's
yeah,
like,
but there's something here.
Yeah.
There's something to it. But like, I'm honestly enjoying it. We haven't seen her do too much She-Hulky stuff. In the first issue we did.
She looks like She-Hulk. She She-Hulked out.
Yes. And she's kind of remained that way now. But like she's checking all the boxes. In the first issue, she gets into a fight. In this issue, she is green the whole time. She is an attorney. She's lifting ambulances. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So, and there's like some sort of mystery that we just found out that there's a mystery. So that's something I'm a little concerned about. Because at the end of issue 2, we find out there's a mystery. But you know what? If this writer, I don't really know their work.
No, I don't either.
If they don't really decompress, we'll be fine.
Yeah. No, it's true. They could only have like 2 pages of mystery. I mean, that happened actually in the last She-Hulk run where there was, I think it was Charles Soule, but it was also with that dreadful art. But yeah, they had like a mystery that they just like in the last issue just dumped all the information out of. It was just, that was one of those things where they thought they had more time.
Yeah.
But there's a book I like. I enjoy reading every time I'm given an opportunity. So high recommend for She-Hulk. Good work.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I also wanted to just say, because like we never got a chance to talk about it, but did I read Strange? Yes, I read Strange, written by Jed McKay with art by Marcelo Ferreira. Ferreira?
Yeah.
I don't know. I just want to say that I read it. I know for a lot of people, they're like, this is it for me. This is the thing they like the most. Yeah. There's just something about Clea being strange that like clicks with them. I'm not saying it's not a solid story. I think it is a strong story, but I think part of that is also like, if you're just trying this for the first time, right? You're just like, I'm going to check this out. Then that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because it's like a well-written story. If you're a fan of Doctor Strange and like now you're like, I love this. This is what I love. That might be because we've had a drought of solid Doctor Strange stories, because I struggle to come up with one that I really felt like through and through, this was good and I really enjoyed it for a few years at this point. But that's not me saying this isn't good. I'm just saying like it's very clear to see where this is going. He's gonna have a movie coming out. I highly doubt they're going to let her stay.
Yeah. Oh well, they might spin her out in her own book.
Oh sure, or not.
Because Clea's a great character who could actually support her own book.
Yes, but it's funny. I'm not saying I need her to be like, oh, she has to be like, the
Sorcerer Supreme.
Or no, I'm not saying that she needs to be just the love interest of Doctor Strange. I am not saying that, but like she is not cut out for this, and that's what we're clearly seeing in this.
Yeah.
In this issue, I should say that she.
That's funny because I read a article from CVR, which is to say a clickbait piece of crap.
Oh, sure.
Which was basically something that was like, oh God, what was it? Just it was praising the issue and talking about how much better she is at being sorcerer. Like she, because there's a great scene. It's really well written where
Mhm.
she gives Doctor Doom the business.
Oh yeah, she does, and it's
a fun scene, but it was like
excellent.
clearly they only read that one scene and they didn't read the rest of the book.
Sure.
And that one scene was like the source of a clickbait, like junk
Absolutely.
article that was like, Clea proves that she is not a Sorcerer Supreme to be messed with. Like she
Right.
just put Doctor Doom in her place. Like I can't wait to see more of her. And I'm like, you're gonna get like
Right.
maybe 10
Listen,
issues.
that entire scene was written to quiet people like me who were like, "Excuse me,
you don't just give someone Sorcerer Supreme.
This is not how you become the Sorcerer Supreme," and it never has been. And so they McKay was like, "I know that," so he went in and he wrote a scene that like really undercut that without really answering anything.
Well, and he knows he definitely read Triumph and Torment because I think
There's
he's referenced
no
it
way
before.
he didn't.
But Doctor Doom would be the person to say that because that's actually the book that I think shows you how you become Sorcerer Supreme. So it's like,
so it's like it's so that
and you trust Doctor Doom, like you're a fan. You're like, yeah, Doctor Doom's in this book, and he's saying things that I remember, and it's like, yeah, just let's not gloss over the fact that it's just there to utilitarianly sell you this book.
I'll be honest, like immediately after his passing, like I was like Doom should crawl out of the woodwork at this point, right? And he does.
Well, he's in every other book. Why not?
I'm looking forward to seeing where Clea goes.
Yeah.
Through her time in this role, right? I really am. However, I would love to peek into the universe where they decided that Doctor Doom was going to fill these shoes for a little bit.
Seriously.
Like
it's
because like
nothing matters in the Marvel universe. Like you could have him do anything.
I know, but like what I like about that in particular is that like he and Strange have such a bizarre relationship of like respect and dislike. Right. So it's like he clearly wants the power, but I think at the same time as we've seen him in other books when he had the opportunity to be good for a bit, like there's a sense of responsibility. And I think he would recognize that as well, that he's like, I do want the power and I do want to utilize it. However, I know I also have to manage XYZ so that like everything doesn't crumble apart. I'd like to see that, but that's not what we're getting here. what I mean by like the fact that she's not cut out for this, it's because she's also Sorcerer Supreme for the Dark Dimension, which means she needs to manage that too, because who's doing that?
Right.
But also because she's the Sorcerer Supreme for the Dark Dimension, she's a very different way of handling things, and it is much more like cutthroat and decisive.
Yes.
Which can be useful, but without her connection to humanity,
right,
that's what I think she lacks. And it's so funny to say that because, as you know, with Doctor Strange, he comes with a big ego and thinking he's amazing and like better than most people, but there still is some compassion.
Yeah. He's a human being.
He's a human being. To like care about what happens to the people around him to some degree. And I know that's something that she lacks. Maybe this is a journey she's going to go on to grasp, but like right now I'm like, you're never going to last in this role. This is not the role for you.
Yeah.
But I think she recognized that as well.
Okay. Cool.
So anyway, I just wanted to touch on that because we didn't get a chance to talk about it.
No, we
did
not.
Nobody asked you for my opinion, but here it is anyway.
I think they did. Memento Mori says, shoot, I'm late. March is proving to be Moon Knight's best month in a while. Wish I wasn't on the West Coast so I could go to the school. Thank you, Memori. Mark Gummerson. Love the show. I'm currently reading through Legends of the Dark Knight. Just finished Shaman and starting Gothic. Do either of you have any stories coming up in the series that you think stand out? Love you too. Thank you very much, Mark. And yeah, Shaman's great. Gothic is terrific. There's actually a whole episode Tiffany hosted of Gothic. I like Venom.
Oh, jeez. Sorry.
And that is a series that I just like read through that I enjoyed very much, like just Legends of the Dark Knight, because like every 5 issues I think it completely changes everything up. Going Sane is in Legends of the Dark Knight. That's a great one. And there's one I'm trying to remember what the hell it was called, but it has a spray paint font. I don't remember, but it's a great series. Just keep going. Just go just go until it hits like nightfall, and you'll be fine. But thanks, man. And Hrishi Venkatesh says, got here late. Hope you thought about covering the White Knight follow-ups on back issues. Or have you thought about it? Yeah. I got to do White Knight 2 at some point. So soon, soon enough. Raj Patel, if y'all are reading the current FF run, it spoils a development in She-Hulk.
That's unsurprising.
And I also am not.
What? Dan Slott ruining something for someone else?
Yeah, what? But why would he do that when he did the biggest move possible to ruin Zdarsky's Fantastic Four X-Men and Hickman's X-Men.
I don't know. I'm sorry, Dan.
I'm not.
You're such a jolly guy.
He is jolly. He's very jolly, and even when he visibly dislikes you, he'll still pose for a picture with you. It says a lot.
That actually does say
really
a lot. That says a lot about his professionalism.
This is true. He's he is a devout professional.
Yeah.
Keenan Meyer, Tiff, have you ever seen / heard Casually Comics on YouTube? I think you and her would make a great podcast or show. And you both have a lot of passion for the books you're into, as well as she is covering She-Hulk on her channel.
I only know of her because you and Benny did a podcast with her.
We did,
But the bigger question is, does she know about me? No.
Yeah,
not really. No.
Yeah.
But thank you.
Right. Matthew Chalaga, have you ever read Superior 4? Have you read Superior 4's latest issue? You see there is a world where Doc Ock is Sorcerer Supreme, but still not one where Doom is. Yes. Yes, that's right. And that's a fun concept that I don't need to see explored any further. So yeah. What else you got?
From last week or from this week?
Whatever. We got to do the show. So whatever book you want to do.
Real quick, this before we get into the books that everybody actually wants us to talk about. I want to talk about this, so I'm going to do it. This is Little Monsters. This is written by Jeff Lemire with art by Dustin Nguyen. FYI, if you're picking this up, this is Dustin Nguyen's art that you're probably thinking of when you think of Dustin Nguyen, which is his beautiful, beautiful watercolors. Instead, what you're going to get here are beautiful, beautiful digitals. Just a very different look and feel than what I'm used to seeing. Doesn't mean he's never done it before, but just in my mind's eye, when I think of Dustin Nguyen, I'm like,
watercolor.
Especially because we literally have a painting in our house, or a print of his Heart
of Ice.
Yes.
Yeah, it's
Freeze and Nora.
Yeah.
So like I'm constantly always thinking about that, right? But this, right? This is a really fun all black and white book, for sure. And I'm not. Oh, okay. So here's the thing. I think Jeff Lemire is a great writer and a wonderful storyteller. But sometimes the way in which he tells the stories aren't my subjective bag, right?
You might have noticed, you don't normally recommend a Jeff Lemire book.
I don't.
Although you did recommend Descender when it first launched.
Yeah,
as a series.
But like, here's the thing. Like, that doesn't mean that it's not good. It's just I don't always like vibe with it for sure, right? However, this one I feel like I can say that I definitely recommend it. I really, really enjoyed it. In fact, like, it's like I said, it's black and white. It's an excellent example of like the power of black and white when done by a truly like competent artist. It looks effortless. Everything Nguyen does looks effortless. Like, I'm just like, oh, like he could have done this in his sleep, and it's just flawless, right? It's a fun story about kids. Listen, Lemire writes a lot about that.
Yeah, that's interesting. I never thought about that.
It is a story clearly about vampires as well. There's an apocalyptic world. It's ticking a lot of Lemire boxes, right? But for some reason, just the scripting, the dialogue in this, and maybe it's just the art combo, it just really clicked for me. And so like I'm really looking forward to more from Little Monsters. Again, if you're a Lemire fan, say go pick it up, give it a try. It ticks a lot of boxes, like I said, and like there's just these fun moments of like little bits of color, just little bits of colors here and there. But yeah, check it out.
Little Monsters. Really quick, I don't want to spend too much time on this while you break out another terrific series from either Marvel or DC, but Justice League Incarnate number 5, the series is over, and it dovetails perfectly directly into Justice League number 75. I also read a little bit of Justice League, and I'm so glad I stopped reading that book, but I'm excited to picking up after 75.
So like for me with Justice League, where I'm struggling right now is that like I saw that Justice League is now like, it's not just that Justice League Dark is in the back of the book. Now they're guest starring in the book, and I'm like, oh my god! But I haven't read anything that Justice League's been doing.
No, you're good.
So I'm like, I'm gonna have to wait till this is in trade to pick it up. At this point, like,
yeah, you're
it's
good.
just not going.
I wonder what they're doing now. I assume that there's been a run enough from the backup Justice League Dark to have it be collected. Is it its own miniseries? Like, is it its own trade paperback? But Justice League Incarnate from Joshua Williamson and Dennis Culver with art by, let me see if I can read this properly. There's a couple of artists on this series, actually, and I'm trying to figure out exactly how to freaking zoom on this.
You can't.
Okay, cool, great. Well, then I'm not going to give them credit because I can't read it.
Wait, what is it? What book is
Justice League Incarnate number 5.
All right, you keep going. I'll find out.
All right. Well, this wraps it up. This is the end of the series. It's really fun. I can't believe they got Gary Frank to do the covers on this series. They're so good looking. But it basically. Okay, so if you love Multiversity, or if you like Grant Morrison, or if you enjoy 90s comics, or if you think Josh Williamson is awesome, and I know many of you do, then you're going to love Justice League Incarnate. It is such a fun, ridiculously insane, steeped in continuity love letter to DC Comics that this is the book people have been complaining about not having. By the way, the art is by Andre Bresson and Jesus Marino.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Let me tell you something. Everybody's like, oh, DC woke, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, shut up. Turn yourself inside out, because like this is the book that you're not reading. Like, these are the books. DC publishes a book for you every friggin' month. And now it's going to be dovetailing into the biggest effing Justice League book, hopefully, of the year, and the biggest effing crisis that they've ever had. And it's doing it. It's steeped in continuity. It stars all these characters you enjoy. I like that Batman is on it. He's freaking dead. But he's on the cover.
Well, listen, if you have an opportunity to draw Darkseid, you're probably going to take it.
Right. No, I said Batman.
Oh, Batman. Sorry.
But
I was looking at Darkseid, so
I
my
know.
brain filled in Darkseid.
Well, because I don't see Gary Frank drawing freaking Darkseid. But yeah, this book is ridiculous. It has such like deep cuts as Pariah, Barry Allen,
Oh, I've been getting to know Pariah lately.
Yes, you have. Dragon Man. You get to find out about the Great Darkness and its connection with Pariah, and how it's been basically collecting the most evil, powerful villains of the DC universe and just throwing them at the Justice League. Like, the last page reveal of this is setting up the massive fight that's going to take place in Justice League 75.
Is that the Upside Down Man?
Yeah.
That's great.
Right?
I appreciate that.
The Justice League are going to fight Trigon, Eclipso, Doomsday, Darkseid, Necron, and the Upside Down Man, and more. I think the Anti-Monitor, there's a lot in here.
But where's the Batman who left?
Oh my God, I can't believe he's not in here, but I'm also really thankful he's not in here.
I can I just say how much I really appreciate that, like, Darkseid has, as far as, well, not always, but like has rocked the like nearly thigh-high boots for quite a while.
Yeah.
Dude, like, just rocks it. He does. He's got some solid legs, and he's just like, this is my costume.
This is my
man.
look. Well, I appreciate
Say something.
It's been a while since we've seen him in like a proper Darkseid costume. And there's actually a flashback to him in his like real Darkseid costume.
I do like him also like presenting the book.
Ladies and gentlemen.
To me, my Justice League.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, a book you're not reading. Ta-da! But read Justice League Incarnate. Pick up the whole series. You can probably get it at a discount at this point.
Right?
But it's fun, and I really enjoyed it. So yeah, that exists. For contrast, here's a book that has been a long time coming. I'm surprised it took this long, but I'm not, because they needed it for the TV show that they clearly used to pitch this. This is, of course, Naomi, season 2.
Okay.
From Brian Bendis and David F. Walker, and, of course, Jamal Campbell. This is the continuation of the Naomi series. Remember when that book came out?
Yes. It feels like a while ago.
It's been a while.
It's been a minute.
Yeah, yeah. Could you look up the colorist on this series?
I
just want to make
absolutely
sure.
can.
But Naomi, season 2, number 1 of 6. Has some great looking art in it. You can imagine.
Oh no.
The art is
when you say stuff
phenomenal.
like that, it makes me nervous.
The art is phenomenal, as you can imagine. And every character is rendered with this like heightened sense of reality that you've come to expect from the Naomi series and from from a Jamal Campbell book. And
it just says Jamal Campbell.
Okay, so I think then you're right. Jamal Campbell friggin' colors his own work. Dude is a powerhouse that is underutilized, though, thank God, because it means he's given the time to do that. Like, I don't want Jamal Campbell in every book, because then his work will suffer. Instead, we get a 10 out of 10 page every time.
Yeah.
Naomi season 2 looks incredible. So Devil's Reign number 5 of 6 is out. Devil's Reign is almost over, and It's been a thing. It's been a thing that, like, I don't know, like,
It feels like you're in a weird place right now where it's like your favorite character, Spider-Man, is just trapped in this thing that's happening.
he's not even in it.
Well, but like he's trapped because he can't be used.
Yeah.
In it, and you're waiting for that to be over. And like you really like Zdarsky's Daredevil, but you're like done with this event as well.
I'm done. I mean, like, no.
I do love this cover. Holy crap.
This book. The
Holy
covers
crap,
have been
look at that
fantastic on this series.
cover.
Yeah, no, I know. It's incredible. And the concept of Devil's Reign is solid. It's just, I don't know. Like, maybe it hasn't been too recently that we've had a civil war. I don't know. It's just, it doesn't read big, and it is big. In any case, it's written by Chip Zdarsky with art by Marco Cicchetto. Kingpin has discovered Matt Murdock's identity as Daredevil, and they need the Purple Man children to for him to become like president. Kingpin's running for president, and it's just civil war. Like, it's just Cap's team, but it's not Cap's team. Trying to save the Purple children, and they're fighting their own people. They got Abomination on their team, so they're screwed. Mike Murdock, who's been impersonating Matt Murdock, is things have come to a head with him and Wilson Fisk's son, who is now the Kingpin, and their relationship, because they came up together and they are like really good friends, despite the fact that Mike Murdock doesn't exist. Mike Murdock, of course, was an identity that Matt created that then through magic became a character who then, through more magic and Norn Stones, basically one more date himself and wished that he existed. So he retconned himself into existing in Daredevil continuity. It was in a Daredevil annual from like maybe 2 years ago now that I'm thinking about it. But really fun, really ridiculous, incredible like retconning that I was like, why? But because Daredevil was in prison, he used his brother, who he now was aware existed because he was retconned. He basically asks Mike to impersonate him, Matt Murdock, to do the Matt Murdock stuff while he is Daredeviling in prison. But now that Daredevil's out, Mike's still kind of impersonating Matt. There's a lot of really fun, awesome art in this series, by the way. The Marco Cicchetto, man, I wouldn't say he was born to draw this, because like
he might just be born to draw.
He's born to draw. Like, he is his drawing is awesome and it looks terrific, right? Like, look at all this stuff. It's really cool.
Yeah.
And that's like,
and he can draw skulls.
He's really good at it. It's great. But like, there's something that's just not hitting me, The Purple Children are dispatched, and of course, like, it's funny because once Kingpin found out who Daredevil was, all of his like machinations, everything that he planned on, he doesn't care. He doesn't care at all anymore.
It's just all goes out the window.
He's just like, okay, well, I'm gonna go kill Matt. Like, I hate Murdock. I'm gonna go kill him.
Like,
that's his whole thing, and it's just like, look at this sequence where, like, it's a depiction of Wilson Fisk's memories, where it's like Daredevil taking his mask off, but there is just Daredevil underneath.
Yeah,
and then his memories are brought in, and it's just Matt like smiling at him.
Yeah,
for, like, having robbed him
he
of
looks
his memories.
like a demon.
Yeah, it's so great.
It's amazing.
But the big reveal, which was revealed in the Daredevil Woman Without Fear issue, was that Kingpin murdered Matt Murdock. And I was like, hacha! I know exactly what happened.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what happens. Friggin' Mike goes to his best friend and goes like, we're going to use the Norn Stones. We're going to fix this. So then he goes to get the Norn Stones, but he doesn't get them in time. And Wilson Fisk is waiting for him. He's like, you've been laughing at me this whole time, Matt Murdock. And he's like, oh, wait, no. And Kingpin beats him to death.
Does he talk about his city? And
he doesn't say anything about his city or when he was a boy. But yeah, it's incredible. Like,
oh wow, he beats him to death like with his hands.
With his hands, yeah. But I'm like
not with like his cane, because he was holding the cane menacingly.
Yeah, but the cane is a connection to Purple Man's mind control, so like he can't risk breaking that.
Okay, makes sense.
But like, that's so smart. And it's just like, that's one of those things I tweeted about this the other day, but I was just like, Chip Zdarsky is a writer. And not like a Hemingway writer where he's like, I need to bare my soul. Although he does that in his own comics. But like, he's a writer, man. Like, he knows story structure. He knows setting things up and knocking them down. If you ever read Life Story, people, I found, by the way, like when it came out, everyone was like, Life Story is amazing. And I'm like, yeah. And now I'm like finding that people, like you talked about short memory earlier in the top of the show. people are like, oh, my life story. I'm like, shut the fuck up. You know what you're talking about.
But they'll come around. You know what it is?
Yeah, but yeah. But in life
you
story,
come around. You change your opinions.
Exactly. No, it's true. You'll, like children read Dark Knight Returns and they're like, oh, Dark Batman. Yeah, I've seen it about 1,000,000 times. I'm like, yeah, man. You know where it came from, right? But life story, he'll set these things up where each issue of life story is a decade, and he's got to encompass a decade. Oh, like it's not just that, like it's Spider-Man in the 70s. He's trying to encompass all of the spirit and story of Spider-Man in the 70s into one issue. And with the Spider-Man 80s one, like so much happens to him in the 80s, and he manages to like it. You could do the whole alien costume saga, and that's enough. But like, there's also Black Cat, and also Kraven's Last Hunt takes place in the 80s, and it's thoroughly divorced from the alien costume saga, and yet he bridges them both in such an expert way that you're reading it and you're like, this is awesome. And then it pays off, and you're like, oh my god,
yeah.
Like thematically and spiritually, he connects these two things, and that's what he does with this freaking series, where he's like, I'm gonna bring in Mike Murdock, and I'm gonna make him relevant and make him valuable to characters in this story, and then I'm going to kill him, and I'm going to change Daredevil's status quo now, because now Kingpin believes he's killed Matt Murdock, so Matt Murdock is dead again, which is a thing that happens every like 15 years in Daredevil's books, where they kill off Matt Murdock, but Daredevil remains. And so like, what is Daredevil going to do now that his brother is dead, who he doesn't know shouldn't exist, and that his counterpart, his identity, is now dead publicly?
Right.
And it's like, I'm sure there's no secret that in part 6, Captain Krakoa is showing up in this book. Like, Cyclops is dead publicly, so they have to remake him as Captain Krakoa. Like, Zdarsky knows that.
Yeah, he does.
It's like, and it's just good writing. It's smart.
Well, yeah, Zdarsky's the kind of writer that makes it seem easy, so that when you sit down and you're like, I'm going to try to write something, it's like, why is this so hard?
Yeah.
Because like he makes you think it's easy.
Yeah, and it ain't. Also, the art is impeccable. So Devil's Reign is great, but it's like there's something about just like the idea of Civil War again. Maybe because I don't feel the scope.
Yeah.
Maybe because it's not really captured in Devil's Reign. But like Kingpin running for president should feel huge, and maybe it's because it's not in everything else, or maybe it's because Chip just doesn't want to friggin' do an event.
Like it could be.
He's just not cut out for events, like because he tells these intimate stories that are so like far-reaching and do impact all these characters, like Devil's Reign X-Men. It's like, is it really? Like, doesn't matter. It could be anything. It's just a cash grab, but like they do it well because it's Duggan. But like, I don't know. There's something about it. I'm just like, I don't really feel anything for this, but like, but he also manages to pull off great writing that feels like a hat trick, and it's just being good at writing.
Right.
Like, holy crap. So, kudos to that.
Kudos
to you. Kudos. He doesn't need my approval. But
but you're happy to give it to him.
Happy to give it to him, whether he likes it or not. Kingsport Cal, happy 5th anniversary. I don't want to get personal, but did you bond over comics? My girlfriend wants to know. Also, she likes Tiff's hat from me. Much love. Thank you, man.
Thank you.
Yeah, 5th anniversry. No,
not
I don't
yet.
think so. Oh, our 5th anniversary. Yeah, no, not yet. December.
Yes.
But yeah, we did not bond. Well, we bonded over comics in the same way we bonded over our own mutual interests. But like, she didn't really read comics until we came along.
I really didn't, because I grew up in a household that would have never happened, because comics were for boys.
Right.
And like, I gotta tell you, like, even watching like Batman and X-Men and all those, like growing up, like that was like one of those things that like was not approved of. Like that was not the kind of things that like little girls should watch. But that was not what my brain said I wanted to watch. Like I'm like, I want to watch those. That's what I want to watch. I don't want to watch what you think I should watch.
Yeah, exactly.
Like isn't there something like, feminine you could watch? And it's like, no.
I
want to watch. I mean, sure, but I want to watch this. This is what I want to watch.
Yeah.
So like, there's never a time where that would have really ever happened. That like I would have been brought to a place where those were and been told to take some. To purchase some. That would have not happened.
No, it's true.
So yeah, I've had a lot of time to catch up.
Yeah. Swimmer says they are collecting Justice League Dark in its own trade paperback. Hopefully it won't have Stockholm Syndrome from being held hostage from Bendis' Justice League book. Let's hope, man.
That's what I was hoping they would do with it, because it went for so long.
That you
I was
could
like, there
collect a whole trade.
probably will be enough at the end of the day.
Like 5 issues worth, maybe.
Yeah.
Valiant Shadow, thanks again for everything you guys do. Mildly annoyed by the change to Frank's logo, but I'm sure it's temporary and the story was cool. We'll talk about that in a minute. I promise. It's coming. Infinite's Jedi recently caught up with Nice House in the Lake. What the fuck? This mystery has no right to be this great. Yeah.
Agreed. Yes. I mean, it's funny too, because it's like, I think some of us have like this weird, like not association or relationship now with Tynan, but like there is something there where it's like part of me feels like he abandoned us, but I know there's more to that Marvel situation for sure. So let's not even get into that. But I'm just kind of like, oh no, sorry, that's Hickman. Leave me alone. But even with Tynan though, he did like, I feel like he left that book behind because he took a break, which is fine.
Yeah.
Like, listen, Saga took a break, right? But Saga had 50 some issues under its belt when they took, and they usually had seasons.
Yeah, Lake had like 5.
This was not really in the middle of like here's the end of an arc or here's the end of a story.
Or like you could literally stop the book.
Yeah.
Like you could end Saga there.
Yeah, you could have, but like with this, it was like, this is just in the middle. This is very well, and like I get it, because it's like I'm the one over there saying like the Doomsday Clock plan worked, and like if you're going to do that for other books, it's absolutely okay to do that.
Yeah.
But like I don't know if the reason why they weren't continuing was because he was too busy working on Substack, and that's what like I get it when it's like personal stuff.
No, it really is just like no, they drove a dump truck full of money to my house,
and that's
and I
where
have to count it.
Right now I feel really weird about it, because I'm just like I feel like you chose the money and that creative project over this other creative project you're working on, but maybe it wasn't that. Maybe the artist needed some time, because like
we know it was because he came back to DC to do Sandman.
Yeah.
And it was
and
they paid him a lot.
Yeah,
to
sure.
do that.
But like I'm like, still excited, and it's still a good book, and you can now pick up the first volume.
That's right.
So if this was one of those books where you're like, I don't know if I'm interested in this, and you're more of a trade reader, now you can go grab the first trade of it and try it out, and still be able to jump back on the weeklies or the monthlies, I should say, if you so desire.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, well, Dan V900 says, I really like Justice League Incarnate, but seeing that variant cover for Dark Crisis 1 with Jace Fox as Batman on the Justice League just disappoints me. I'm okay with everyone else, but stop trying to make him happen. Well, he's got his own series, man. And by the way, the art in the book is great looking. I don't care about Jace myself, but like not in a way where I'm like, oh, I don't like there being a black Batman. It's just more like I'm good on. I dropped Detective. Like I'm just done with Batman books for a while, So it's like it doesn't matter who's in it. I just don't care. I'm like, we'll read some more Batman later. But yeah, man, I don't have time to get into it. Somebody said you got that juice now. You quoting juice? Juice. That's a good one. Girk Pectus, would you do original Thunderbolts back issues? I didn't see the twist coming. Did you know? Loved Punisher. That last page was haunting. Yeah, man.
We will get into that.
I would love to do Thunderbolts. We'll do that soon. I do have it.
I have so many books we haven't even started. And I think you've already done all your books except for the one we were majorly going to be talking about.
This is true. Yeah. So let's go one.
Let's talk about Moon Knight real quick. Moon Knight number 9, written by Jed MacKay with art by. I think I know the answer to this. I think it's Cappuccio.
Yeah, I think it is Cappuccio. It usually is.
Yeah, it's Cappuccio, which looks really good.
What a great cover.
Yeah, seriously, this is another example of like Jed MacKay remembers things. And it's fine. And I have no problem with that. I really like that.
That should be the name of his podcast.
Jed MacKay remembers things. Jed, if you want to do that, I have to be a guest on the show because I gave you the name. But like in the best way possible. Moon Knight, listen, I'm not reading the tie-ins to Devil's Reign. However, I know Moon Knight was arrested in those. So like that's why in the last issue he wasn't there and now he's back. But we're not really addressing it.
Nah, it's fine. Like, it's going to be traded. It's going to be collected.
It's kind of mentioned and that's kind of it.
That's fine.
Like, and I really appreciate that because if you're not reading the tie-ins, the only thing you're confused about is
where was he? But even then, like you could just focus on other characters.
But they also explained it to you. So it's okay.
Yeah.
But this is back to brass tacks for Moon Knight, where it's like, hey, Moon Knight's working in his little area of the city, right? Yeah. And he's taking care of it, but like he has no more like mission. Like the building was blown up by the Zodiac, right? But he gets called in to help out with like there's people like have been missing and like they're dying, and it turns out they all lived on the same floor of this one building, and so he goes to like investigate it. And this is where I really was like, this book had me.
Yeah.
This book had me at like one freaking line, right?
Okay.
And it's that where is it? So like he goes to this building, and like the basically the thing of it is that like it all goes on the 6th floor. However, when you look at the building plans, there is no 6th floor. And that's the moment where I was like, I mean, I was already in for this because I'm reading this series, but like I'm extra in for this.
Yeah.
Because you know that this is going into a supernatural like route, and we 100% are. Yeah. He enters into the 6th floor and ends up in a maze. And then he's like, it's actually an incredible sequence of like Moon Knight.
Not like this, obviously. Thanks a lot, Comixology, but
Right, but you get the idea. And like the panels are drawn in a way that makes it look like you're like the walls of the maze. Moon Knight realizes that like the maze itself, like there's air and there's shelter and there's water, but there's no food. The maze is trying to weaken him.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's so cool. And then he realizes the maze is actually alive and he's like in something. It's like he's in the Sarlacc pit, right?
Okay.
And occasionally he'll see someone who's like also lost in the maze or whatever. And he tries to go after them and they're gone, right? And like eventually it's really getting to him, and it's like he's weakened from not eating. And that's when the maze tries to take over his mind, like it's done with everyone else. And he's like, and that was its mistake. Because you don't go in my mind.
Right,
without getting hurt, and it spits him out like he's poison.
Okay, cool.
So then he immediately goes to the Sanctum Sanctorum. He talks to Wong because we're not dealing with whatever's happening in Doctor Strange. Right, it's so funny.
Yeah, because he's writing it. He would know.
He's writing it, but I appreciate that. He's like, no, Wong can answer this, right?
Mm-hmm.
He calls back to the fact that he's like, hey, I helped out with that whole Vegas thing. And they're like, yeah, but didn't you take Doctor Strange's stuff and powers and stuff before?
Oh, and that horrible Avengers run? Yeah, no, I remember that.
And like Wong's like, so Moon Knight's like, then I'll owe you one, but you got to help me out with something. It's about this like estate, and it's revealed that this estate is it's the house. Wait, hang on, go one more. It's the House of Shadows. Thank you. Which showed up in Strange Tales back in the day. That's the first time we saw it. Doctor Strange deals with it. Then it comes back, deals with some other characters. Eventually, it comes back again. Strange and Rintra deal with it like one time. And then it was just here, and essentially it takes up residence on this like apartment building, right? Or this building. And so Moon Knight comes in, he's like, all right, so I've got like a bag full of explosives, and here's what we're gonna do, right? Because like I don't necessarily want to explode the building because I know there's still people in here, but like what I do want to do is like make friends with you, because the fact is like what do all houses want? They want someone living in them.
Oh, okay.
So he's like, come be my mission.
Yeah.
And so like the House of Shadows goes,
it's all like ruined, and then it.
No, that's the building. That's his old mission.
Yeah.
And like so the House of Shadows comes to where the mission was and rebuilds it.
Yeah.
And it's like alive now, and it's part of the team.
That's cool.
I'm like, but again, an example of Jed MacKay remembers things.
Yeah.
It's just like a little like palate cleanser, reestablishing that Moon Knight is back, and how we get the mission back.
Yeah.
Because
so it adds another like fun supernatural element to it.
Supernatural element. I dig Moon Knight dealing with supernatural crap, and also occasionally like punch people in the face. I'm down.
As well he should.
Really enjoyed this book. This might be an interesting point for you to jump on if you were interested in Moon Knight, because you'll get a little splash page of what the hell's going on. But like we're about to enter into like, oh, like this dude from Ravencroft like escaped. Someone I think MacKay invented.
I think so.
And so like we're gonna be getting into that, but you should be able to kind of fill in the blanks as you go. The mission's been rebuilt. Moon Knight's like in a different place. You might be able to jump on here. Not a bad place. So yeah, I like it though.
Right.
I also want to say I read Eternals number 10.
Yay.
Written by Kieran Gillen with art by Asad Ribic. It's so funny. Like I love Ribic and I hate Ribic.
Yes. Ribic is, when it's working, it's working flawlessly, and when it doesn't work, it is glaring, and it's also deliberate. Like he wants it to work and it doesn't. Yeah.
Right.
There's an image of Carol that's like been circulating throughout the internet where people are like, this is the reason why comic books are failing and manga's taken over, because people draw women like they look like they're sacks of potatoes or something like that. It's like, listen, like there are a couple of, Ribic does the ingloriousness of humanity, and not everyone is like an idealized version of themselves, but like also,
but he also like
there's some weaknesses in his art.
No, there are. There definitely, and I will absolutely say that 100%. But there's also just something to a lot of his panel work, just in general. Like there's like, it's so funny because there are so many like heroic, beautiful moments in his work just in general, but then there's also like the complete opposite side of it.
Right.
This is obviously on the road to Avengers versus Eternals.
Oh, yeah,
My
that's
brain
right.
so badly almost said X-Men.
Well, because like, who would ever say that?
So I'm only reading this. I have no idea if anything in the Avengers is leading to that. But like Thanos is involved. Obviously, Thanos is in charge. He's Prime Eternal right now. Thanos has discovered that like he is Phastos, right? Who like is the one who brought him back and like tortured him, and he's trying to make himself whole, essentially, right? And so he's been torturing him, and he's like, Phastos eventually like gives up some information because he's like, I can give up this much information and still like give the Eternals the time they need to do what they need to do, which is they're trying to break into Avengers compound, which is in the Dead Celestial, because they're trying to contact the Celestials, right? So he's trying to buy time so that Thanos can't get there or figure it out.
Okay.
So he reveals that like he's like, I did XYZ, but the fact is, if you're trying to figure out what made you the way you are, you need to talk to your parents.
Right.
And he's like, well, they're dead. And then Druig's like, I mean, they're in the cells right over here. They were resurrected.
Oh.
Which I was like, what?
Yeah, what?
So yeah, they're there. And then Thanos spends the rest of the book
like talking to them.
Killing them.
Ah.
He kills them easily 6 times each.
Oh, okay.
Because he hates them.
Right.
And, you know, like, then they give him a hard time. They're like, you suck.
Right. Yeah, his mother cursed him when he came out.
Yeah, when she's still like, I don't believe in unconditional love, Thanos, but like, I do know that my hate for you is unconditional. And I'm like, damn.
Yeah.
Damn, maybe Thanos just needs a hug. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe that solved a lot of problems.
That's awesome. But
yeah, so it's a lot of that. I don't want to give too much away if you haven't been into this book, but like, this is probably what's going to start to cause some issues between the Avengers and the Eternals, because the Avengers become quite aware that the Eternals are in their base and they didn't really ask for permission.
Right.
But Cersei's did offer to go on a dinner date with Namor. And Namor was like,
I'm in.
Well, Tony was like, listen, don't you think it's weird? Don't you think it's weird that like Cersei would offer to have dinner with you and not me, a friend? I'm a friend.
No, you used to sleep together, but like, let me tell you.
Namor's like, listen, man, there are some people who say no to a date with, or a dinner date with like a beautiful woman, and others who don't. And I don't.
Yeah, I'm not one of them.
And he's like, clearly you're just jealous.
Yeah,
that's right.
Tony's like,
Tony does have a great line, because it is Kieran Gillen writing this, where the gist of it is he's like, I think that man was put on this earth to make me feel like I make other men feel.
Wow. I kind of want Kieran Gillen to write an Iron Man book now.
Right?
This cover, I'm just so captivated by this cover. It's just
That's
so
what I'm
good.
talking about, where it's like Rippick's like amazing and not. It's just, I don't know.
Just that cover of like the next issue.
Yep.
Ugh.
Right? So
yeah. Give Rippick a Captain America book.
So I dig this book. I like him writing. I like Gillen writing the Eternals.
Yeah.
There's a cheekiness to it at times.
Right. Of course.
But there's definitely some weight to it. It's the kind of book that makes you feel smart and stupid all at once.
There you go. That goes on the cover. So many pulls from the show where we give you a really good cover quote, and because it's not written down, they never use them.
It's fine.
Rishi Venkatesh says the Spider-Man splash page in Devil's Reign X-Men #2 and Emma's reaction did actually make me cry. It felt so raw. Yes, agreed. It was a great moment.
Just you telling me about that gave me like chills.
CT 16985 scrolling Comixology. Gotta hate the new site, and I just bought the Beta Ray Bill book while watching you guys right now. I'm sorry, but like, yeah, it's a great book. You will enjoy it regardless.
Yes.
And that's it. So let's move on. What's next?
Let's talk about the lives and deaths of Wolverine this week. Both like they came out simultaneously.
They did indeed.
As opposed to how they've been like alternating. I think we're back to alternating next week.
Okay.
So this week let's start with lives first, because that should have come out through 2-3 weeks ago.
Yeah. Benjamin Percy, Joshua Cassara.
Yeah. So this just continuously like, hey, Wolverine's going through his lives, and like it's, just beautiful looking work. I think Vicentini also worked on this. It just looks incredible. Yeah. Like it's just so freaking good looking.
I'm sorry, but like, how the fuck am I supposed to read this?
I know. I know. Well, on your phone, it's a little different.
Yeah, you know what's really frustrating about that phone? I was trying to read Batman Killing Time, and like the panel work is like, it's still gonna be like widescreen going this way.
Yeah,
I have to keep doing this when I'm reading my like comics on my phone.
Yeah, that's what I do.
Yeah, that sucks.
But I've been doing that forever. It has nothing to do with the new app. That's how it is.
Yeah. No.
I mean, like, you don't have to.
Yes, I do.
You could just zoom in.
No, I could zoom in.
You could.
It's balls.
That's what I do.
No thanks.
Okay.
X Lives Wolverine.
What I do like about that credits page though is that like one of the Wolverines in the graphic there is red because that's the one that's taken over by Omega Red. It's smart. This touches on I think it's World War II. There are Japanese fighter pilots who are going to attack a U.S.
Ship.
I guess it can't be. Is it U.S.? Yes. Because Xavier's dad's on it, so I'm like, is it U.S.?
Yeah, he's American. Yeah, he's American.
But essentially, that Wolverine jumps into his own body as like, he's like, I'm rusty.
Yeah, I haven't flown. Plane.
And this is not the Blackbird, so.
Right, that's fun.
But he gets it up there. They have a dogfight. It's dope looking, right? Meanwhile, we're like seeing different Wolverines, different times dealing with Omega Red. It's the same stuff that we've been dealing with. The one that was in Vietnam that was taken over by Omega Red goes to attack Xavier and is stopped by Sabretooth because Sabretooth's mad at him for betraying them.
Oh.
So Sabretooth it inevitably ends up saving Professor X.
That's fun.
Right? Isn't that kind of cool?
Yeah, I love that.
Because like even Omega Red in like his body, in like Logan's body is like, no, let him. I love that page.
That's
just
so
that
good
single
looking.
image of the two of them. You can click on that one. That's just its own page. Or not, because I think you have it set to dual pages, not the single page. Anyway, it's up here.
Okay.
I think that doesn't matter. But it's such a beautiful image. But he's just screaming. He's like, no, like help me kill him. They're gonna screw you over.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Because by the way, I did not get a chance to read Sabretooth. It was on my list, but it was one of the ones that I didn't pull because I had to go look them up and I didn't grab it. So I'll talk about that next week because I don't have as many books next week. So I'm gonna make up for it by talking about Sabretooth.
Yeah.
But anyway, additionally, something that happens in Venom, right? Apostrophe Nam.
Yeah.
Comes into play in this book as well, in which like the doctor who's building like the Weapon X is like looking at Wolverine and it looks like there's a Venom symbiote in his bloodstream, but he doesn't know what it is. And like he's going to develop that and figure it out, but then it like causes him to like venom out and like whatever, right? But like it's also talking about like this whole book's talking about cause and effect, and that like like Jean and Professor X have a mental conversation in which they talk about like, okay, so like let's just say like a family is in their car and they end up getting hit by a truck, right? And like everyone's gonna try to figure out what happened. Like was it like someone was drinking? Was it just like an accident? Was it the truck driver? Was it like the brakes? Like what happened? They got to figure it out. But the fact is, it's like a lot of things happen to lead to those moments. And like Jean starts talking about how like oh, do you mean like for example the fact that like the boy ran inside to get his hat, or like the car dealership like sold them a car 3 years ago that maybe the brakes weren't so hot on, or like the truck driver like read a billboard that like promised him like $70,000 a year to become a truck driver, or like he was mad at a song on the radio and like that song was written 30 years, like all these things, and that like Wolverine event essentially is really disturbing a lot of things in the pursuit of this, because like so like Xavier's like, we need to be gentle, and Wolverine is anything but that. And so he says that what they need to do is every time Wolverine and Omega Red leave a time frame,
someone has to go back and reset it.
Well, that Jean needs to like mind wipe everyone within a certain radius.
Yeah.
That like none of this happened.
Right.
To just reset them. Now that works and it doesn't work, and I don't want to get into the intricacies of time travel.
Yeah.
But or like butterfly effects or any of that, right? But anyway, they because of that though, Wolverine also talks about how like he notices the cause and effect as well, because he's like, well, because the venom, because of like what happened with me and how like I venomed out, that like he ended up killing that symbiote, and so he ended up shooting me up with adamantium. And like the fighter pilot that ended up like he was supposed to die like a glorious death like flying into the ship didn't do that and failed, and because of that Lady Deathstrike comes about. Like they're like related.
So it's all like these things were supposed to happen.
Yes and no, but he's like, I could have fixed these things, but I can't fix anything, essentially.
Yeah.
Right. And so like it's just a lot about that. But inevitably Jean realizes that like they're exhausted. They've been going and going and going, and she realizes she's lost him. She doesn't know where Logan is.
Yeah.
And like she's like, we have to get him back. And she like grabs Professor X and he's like, he jumps in to like try to reestablish a link. Like he was doing something else. And he's like, all right, I'll switch over to this.
Yeah.
And as he does that, like Logan wakes up, but he's Omega Red.
Oh.
So I'm like, okay. So like for me, this is the book I really like.
Yeah.
And I think part of it is also just the art. And we're also just telling a fun Wolverine story.
Yeah.
Like we're just getting an opportunity for Wolverine to revisit
his greatest hits.
Yes, but also his worst moments. Because there's a really solid line in this. Regardless of how you feel about this book, because I think a lot of people are sick of these two books, right?
Yeah.
And I get it.
Which is like, just don't read it.
But like
whatever.
Lives, I think is better than Deaths.
Yeah.
Personally, I think it's just a better story. But Percy has a line in this book where he talks about memories, and like I find this to be, when he said this, it was like a deep cut, but also like that is so freaking true. Where he talks about how like the bad memories stain and the good memories fade away.
Yeah.
And like how like he doesn't always remember like the good times, but he remembers all of the things that he did wrong.
Yes.
And like so he's going through all these things and he can't fix any of them anyway. And I'm like,
That's good stuff.
So anyway, let's go over to 10 Deaths of Wolverine. I think this is, for a lot of people, is not their favorite. It's written by Ben Percy with art by Vincentini.
Yep.
So this one has a parental advisory on the front.
Oh my God.
I don't know why.
Right.
I don't recall why.
Maybe because in the last issue she cut her own hand off, and Marvel was like, "What? We let that happen? But we only have 2 editors working."
But it wasn't her arm; it was
her hand.
It was Warlock.
Yeah, but the blood was still in the book.
Sure. So this issue gets okay. So listen, I can't even anymore with this book because I can't tell what was supposed to happen and what's happening now, because like they're trying to keep this whole thing going, right?
Yeah.
So like that future sequence that we saw where like our Wolverine came from is actually the future of the current timeline, I think.
Okay.
That's what they're indicating.
Sure.
Right?
That's what they want us to believe.
Because like, and I'll give her credit, like Moira shows, like when we go back to check that out, Moira's just like, I freaking saved you all over and over and over again, and you took my powers away from me.
Yeah, well, it wasn't everybody, you idiot, but you're not even supposed to be you.
No, so. They revealed that like this was something that the council all kind of agreed on.
Oh.
And I'm like, what? Okay, sure, whatever.
Sure, yeah, because Hickman's gone.
But that okay, so here's the gist of this. There's like an intrinsically very X-Men-y mutant thing that happens in this book. And then there's like everything else that's going on, right? And here's the thing that I say is like, so like it makes me automatically think of like, it just makes me think of X-Men, right?
Yeah.
Wolverine is talking to Forge. They're in like the near future and they're setting up a future timeline, or like they're setting up future plans where like they basically have like this little green oval and they shove it into Wolverine's eye.
Okay.
Right? And then a Sentinel shows up.
Okay.
And it's like the near future. And I'm like, it's like not just a Sentinel. It's like a lot of Sentinels.
Right.
Right. But I'm like, how freaking X-Men, right? This like moment of like, we're screwed, but like, we got to plan for the future. Right.
Yeah.
So cool. Right. That comes into play because that's how Wolverine from the far future gets back. It's a Krakoan gate.
Oh.
It's a seed in his eye, and and he plants it and it grows around him. Moira's plan was apparently after she lost her powers or before she lost her powers. I don't know.
Maybe it was always her plan.
They're just saying that her plan is that she realized that like at the end of the day, there's like everyone always thinks about the future and how bright it is and stuff like that. But the fact is, the future only ends in death for each person. All that's going to matter at the end of the day is the last gasp you take.
Okay.
And I'm like, wow.
It's pretty dark.
Sure. But she's like, no, the true future and like saving everyone is like creating like a unified mind, like the Phalanx.
Yeah.
That's what we need to do.
But she hated that. She fought against it.
But now this version is not. And so she also in this issue goes back to Krakoa to try to get the gun to see if she can fix herself. And how does she do that? She has to use a gate. And so how does she do that? She contacts her old friend Banshee, and she does something I can't imagine she'd ever do, but she did it in this book. She talks to Banshee, and then they meet up in a bar, and then she skins him and wears his face.
Oh, okay.
And his clothes.
It's such a real thing that would definitely happen.
Which is probably where the parental advisory came from now that I'm thinking about it, actually.
Yeah.
So she finds out that like no, the gun can't possibly work, and then Professor X is like, "Hey Moira, like I know you're there, but like I'm also in the middle of like trying to not be stabbed to death by Omega Red."
Right,
Like,
I got a hole in
but
my
like,
shoulder.
listen, this was what the government decided, right? She throws on some like crazy Krakoan armor. She grabs Destiny, who's also there, and is like gonna take her and use her,
Okay.
and like blames Destiny. And I'm like, to be fair, I don't know whose fault it is anymore.
Well, because it's such a mess.
Because Destiny really like did mess up everything, and like Destiny even now is like, I don't know what the future is, and I'm like, you suck.
Well,
Both of y'all suck.
yeah. Well, because we don't know if like he's coming back, and if he does, we need to like keep it kind of ambiguous.
Sure. So then Wolverine throughout this is like hinted at that like or at least this issue.
Well, his family's gonna die.
Well, we heard about how they all die, and it's actually all very sad.
I know, yeah, that was one of the pages that like
it's like really well done.
Reddit really liked it. They're like, this book is great. Look at how I love Laura and Honey Badger.
That page is spectacular because it's just him talking about how like Daken died.
Yep.
And then how like Honey Badger dies, which is like horrific. Where like depower her, then they split her in two, and that like Laura, he's like, this is Laura, and he's like, this is Wolverine.
This is Wolverine, yeah.
And like, you know, she died by like they took her and they experimented on her for years.
Yeah.
And like it's just this horrifying moment where they all find out what's gonna happen to them, and like this guy like, you know, gives them the information they need to know, and then like Wolverine promises he won't kill him, so then he lobotomizes him.
Oh, okay.
So that whatever. But he's like, listen, if I've got the phalanx in me, and like there's gonna come a time where I can't fight it anymore. Because every time he uses the healing factor, it's like messing him up, but he doesn't really have the healing factor, I guess, at this point. And it's going to like take over him, and you have to kill me.
Yeah.
And at the end of this book, he becomes the phalanx. And there's nobody there to stop him.
You know, man, like you set up all this stuff.
This book is the one that feels like a mess to me. And like Lives of Wolverine is just like a fun, it's like a fun romp. But like, I think 10 Deaths of Wolverine is going to be the one that matters.
Right. This is the one why I quit.
I know. But we have one more issue of each. So maybe somehow this is all going to be untangled. I don't know. I doubt it too. Yeah. But like, that's not to say that Percy's writing is bad because like his dialogue I really enjoy.
No, yeah, that's the thing. Is just and it could who knows what he's being told to make.
It's just some of the story beats and some of the characterizations that I'm like, it's like that's hard because that is his writing.
Yeah,
that's him writing that. But then like he's got some solid dialogue and these like really poignant moments, and I'm like,
oh no, I don't reconcile both halves of that?
I don't know how to reconcile that.
Yeah.
I think because I'm not the kind of person who's going to just be like, it doesn't matter because I love X-Men, so therefore this must be intrinsically good. Because it doesn't have to be. And I can still enjoy parts of it, but still like critique Urko and like, you know, this doesn't make any sense.
Right. Are they gonna friggin' Doctor Who this where they're like they're gonna reboot it? Like she's gonna die and it's still gonna reset, and then it's like, okay, I'm just gonna do everything normally the same way I did, like set it all up so that literally none of this happens, but everything that happened before all this happens.
I don't know.
You know what I mean?
Right. I don't know.
Could this be that like maybe editorial, if there were such a thing that existed at Marvel, said, hey, make this feel like it really matters because we're going to lose people. Like Inferno is really going to alienate all that people. Make this feel like it's just huge. Like just pay off every Hickman plot thread. Like the Phalanx thing is a huge deal. Pay that off so that people feel like this matters. And then we can move on and do whatever we want.
What's funny is I love the Phalanx as like this far off threat of like something that's really hard to conceptualize. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But instead they're like not letting that happen.
No.
And they're also doing time travel in both books, right? And I don't know if what they're trying to say, because if you're reading, like I said, if you're reading X Lives of Wolverine, they're talking about how like, you know, because I did this, now this happens, right?
Yeah.
So like, does this like future from Moira happen just because Destiny took away her powers?
Right. Probably.
You know, like, is this really all Destiny's fault? And if the key is that like they roll it back enough, or like Wolverine or whatever is able to time travel back and like kill her or get rid of her, then this future won't happen.
Right.
But I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't know. And like, I'm going to hold off my final judgment until we get the last issues of both series. Fair. But right now, Deaths of Wolverine just feels like trying to like force a square peg into a round hole.
Yeah, definitely.
But I could be wrong.
Yeah. So let's talk about the Punisher, huh? People have been wanting us to talk about Punisher for a while. This is, of course, Punisher written by Jason Aaron. It's Jason Aaron's Punisher.
With art
by Jesus Saiz and Paul Azaketa.
Yeah, so like, their credit is like by, which like I think is neat because it means that Aaron's sharing the credits of like the creation of this book with presumably.
With his artists.
Yes. Now again, I do wonder if like one of them isn't writing, but like go ahead,
Yeah.
I'll look that up.
But
well.
this is Punisher, not the Punisher, not Punisher Warzone or War Journal or whatever the hell. It's just Punisher, and this is of course mired in a lot of controversy. But like, let's not talk about that right now. We'll talk about that after the books, after we talk about what happens in the story, because I think there's something to talk about here.
Sure. Okay. Yeah. So the writer is Aaron, and art is by Says and Azaketa.
I don't know.
Yes.
But yeah, Punisher. Every so often they're like, hey,
make Punisher relevant or
do something with Punisher
relevant again,
right?
Yeah.
Like Garth Ennis isn't here and he's not writing a Punisher book, so just do something else. Turn him into a Frankenstein monster, turn him into an angel, turn him into whatever the hell.
Yeah.
Send him to space, do whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So in this one, which I really like, okay, so the Hand basically strong arms Punisher into joining them because they think that he's like involved, he's important.
Yeah,
and,
well, I like the reasoning behind, like how they brought him in. I really did. Yeah. Go ahead.
Oh, so but like we kind of just hit the ground running. Punisher is already like running the Hand, or he's in age like a lieutenant or general of the Hand.
He's not just he's the
demons.
He's the
whatever
the lead slayer or something like that.
Right.
They say the word slayer. Okay, listen, I can't help it if everyone automatically thinks of Buffy.
Yeah, exactly.
That's not my fault.
Right. But he's doing his thing. He kills a bunch of bad guys. And then he is sent back to the temple where he then is like given a offering by the Hand of a bunch of.
He requests them.
Yes, I know. Like that's his setup, is that his offering is like, send me a bunch of like horrible people that I would normally kill.
Well,
like,
yeah, because it's like he's like, listen,
because I can't be Punisher if I'm doing all this crap.
Yeah,
for you
but
guys.
I still need to be Punisher. So like, I'm gonna need you to pick up some slack for me, folks.
Right. So they like bring him an offering of like bad people, and then he murders them.
Well, yeah, they all like it's also offered that the Hand will do it for him. He's like, no, and then like,
yeah,
the chick there is like, this is good. It's good for the others to see this.
This is good.
I'm like.
Yeah, the chick in charge is hilarious because she's like, "Oh, I'm all in on this Punisher guy. This is gonna be great."
Yeah.
But yeah, so
I do love. There's like an image of like his former
flak jacket, his outfit,
with like the old logo on it, sitting there like it's
on an altar.
Yes, like a samurai would put their armor.
Yeah, like I don't do this anymore.
Like
this
that's neat.
Yeah, no, it is. So then he does his thing, and then he goes to bed, and it's punctuated by like a flashback where like Punisher's doing his Punisher thing, like he's classic Punisher, and he's attacked by the Hand ninjas. And
well, yeah, it's like how she recruited him.
How she recruited him.
It was like a demo.
Yeah, like go kill him, and he's like, I just won't stop murdering all of these guys.
Well, yeah, and this is for me. This is Aaron doing what Aaron does.
This is what Aaron does
because like
best.
She talks about how like he's the king of killers, and like so.
Show me,
and like if you die, then I know, like, and then I'll also kill myself. But then like, so like the Hand attack, her line is just like, and I watched the king hold court, and it's just him like slaughtering people, and I'm like, that's such a good line.
Yeah, but yeah, she's like, okay, here we go. How she recruits him is essentially that she like resurrects his family, or at the very least his wife. But we'll see what happens in the future. But right now, it's two different timelines. It's like how he got recruited and what he's doing now that he's been recruited.
Yep.
And he does his thing. He goes to bed, and he gets in bed, and Maria's asleep waiting for him.
Yeah, and she's like, she's got the bullet wounds though.
She is covered in holes.
Yeah, which is punctuated from the beginning. Up,
but yeah,
because the beginning of this book is like
his origin.
Yeah,
the death of the family.
Yeah, and like from his perspective.
Right.
Seemingly.
Yeah.
But also punctuated by the EMS's
report.
Yeah, like they're talking like, oh, the children are dead. Like we're not even gonna try.
Right. No.
And I'm like, that is so grim and like horrible.
Yeah.
But like that's what they have to prioritize, right? Like, okay, kids are dead, there's nothing we can do. Move on to these two.
Yeah, that's right.
But like they talk about how many times they were shot, like in a sense. Like but then to see it. So I like that like beginning and ending, that like poetry, it rhymes kind of moment.
Exactly. But the image of her with the like healed over bullet holes and like in places that would kill you.
Oh yeah.
Just haunting.
Yeah.
So the art in this book is incredible. It looks great. It's dope. The concept of like, let's put Frank in this place in the Marvel universe is a great idea.
Yes. And again, like I know a lot of people, because most of their like current or recent exposure to Aaron has been his Avengers run. But like if you're me, it was Doctor Strange, Conan, King Conan.
Right?
This lives up to that entirely.
Yeah.
This is what it's Aaron for me is the guy who's like, you give him a character and you
Yes.
tell him to write a solid
Especially if
story
that
about
character is a son of a bitch who
Yes.
murders people.
Yes.
By the way, there's a really cool, like, everyone, this book might have been slept on or skipped over by a lot of like hardcore comic book fans because of what they perceive to be the reality of the situation. It's almost like there's a reaction to that in this, where we see this kind of like really cool, kind of like classic comic book graphic, you know, but still modern depiction of the murder of the Castigliones. But like, then after like the EMS is like, after the death of the family.
Yeah, which that is not only drawn beautifully by I don't know which of the two artists,
Yeah.
because it's like it's grim, it's gritty. There's
Yeah.
also like it's very different feel
Right?
to the rest of the art.
Yeah.
But like the way in which Aaron does the like description of what's happening by the EMS, because like Frank he's riddled with bullets and they're like, I don't understand how this man's alive. And they don't
Right.
think he's breathing. And then he says her name and they're like,
They're
oh
like,
my
"Oh,
God.
shit."
And then he tries to get up and it takes several men to hold him down.
Yeah.
Because he's trying to get to his wife.
Yep.
And I was like, I freaking love that, because like if you maybe don't know too much about the Punisher, you learned everything you need to know about Frank Castle in those first few pages.
Yeah.
And so that end moment you get.
Yeah.
Like even if you don't know his history, you get it.
Exactly. But then you get this montage of like, because it's like they ask, who are you? And then it cuts to like who he's been.
Yeah.
And this is basically the depiction of every key incarnation of the Punisher. Just everything. This is the Punisher.
Yeah.
Brought up in a big splash page.
Yes.
Which unfortunately, thanks to Comixology, looks like total fucking garbage.
It's the Kindle.
But the Kindle reader. But like
it looks better when you do the panel stuff, because you can see some of it.
Nope.
I don't know what you did to yours, but I
didn't do anything to it. That's exactly how it works. It's just
there we go.
Okay. Well,
anyway,
it's awesome. Then we talk about the controversy. So people skipped on this book because the Punisher logo has been co-opted by like groups that would not be that would not be sympathetically brought to by the Punisher.
No.
But like, here's the thing. Marvel is funny, and like, I don't work for Marvel and I don't know people at Marvel, but I can tell you that like I've been reading their comics for a long time, and I know enough people in the industry at least to see like or judge or I know how Marvel operates. Marvel doesn't give a shit about whatever issues are plaguing the like social climate.
Right.
They're not going to retire the Punisher logo because it is unpopular. They're just not. That's a brand. They're not going to retire the Darkhawk logo because no one's using it. They're not going to get rid of the Punisher logo. And the Punisher logo is in this book multiple times and is at least on the cover of the first and second issues of this series. He also has the Punisher logo flak jacket in a place of reverence. He also operates as the Punisher in the Punisher outfit in this book.
Yeah.
We also get a massive splash page of him wearing the logo.
Yes.
I don't see the hand not rebranding him if he was going to join the hand. Not unlike when Daredevil joined the hand and they changed the Daredevil logo.
Yeah. The hand's brand game is on point. They're just like, no. If you're part of the organization,
we got to like do a whole theme.
We got to get our team in here.
But Marvel is aware of social trends, and the only reason they would ever jump on them is the same reason Marvel does anything. If the New York Times or some significant article wants to, or a news outlet wants to write an article about how they're changing Punisher's logo because of buzzwords and keywords that are instantly clickable, they'll do it. And they'll just let Aaron do whatever the hell he wants, as long as they did change the logo or did something to capitalize on that. Marvel would quicker capitalize on a social trend than change something in their books because socially it is unattractive.
No, what they should do is like, Disney itself is notoriously litigious.
Yes.
They should get.
Yeah, they should just sue the shit out of anybody who uses the unlicensed
teams
image
out there and doing their thing. I don't know how they do that, but the fact is, it's like those guys, they will come at you.
Right.
Like for anything that they perceive of as theirs.
Oh yeah.
Like
no, if you have a preschool and you have an image of Mickey Mouse, they'll destroy you. But like seriously, like, so there is a perception that this is in some way a reaction to the use of the of the logo. It's not. And even if it is, Aaron is expertly circumventing that with a dope ass run on Punisher. And when I say dope ass run, I mean a dope ass opening issue for this new status quo for the Punisher, which I promise you won't last more than a year.
Probably not.
Like it might culminate in like an event like Shadowland, where it's like the Marvel Universe versus Punisher. Like Frank is just going to keep ratcheting it up and they're going to be like, we got to deal with Frank. Like it's going to do that and it's going to be friggin' cool. But it's in a noble tradition of, we're Marvel Comics. What the hell do we do with this 1970s action movie exploitation character? I think Garth Ennis talked to us on this channel, by the way. No, on the other channel. But like Garth Ennis came on the show one time and he talked about how, the origins of the Marvel Universe and where these characters are influenced and came from. And Punisher is a Charlie Bronson movie. Like Luke Cage came from like blaxploitation films, and like that's why, like, Stan and the gang at Marvel were like, let's co-opt that and put it into our comics. And like Frank he's an action movie. He's a an exploitation action murder revenge movie.
Sure.
In a world where that's not a thing anymore, or at the very least, it's certainly not the most popular thing because it's not the 1970s anymore. What do you do with that character?
Yeah.
Like Frank can't kill. Like I remember when Frank killed Stiltman, and it was a big deal. People were like, "Oh my god," because Stiltman, like he may be silly, but he's a character,
right?
And Frank killed Stiltman, and if he's gonna kill Stiltman, where does he stop next?
He's like, "No, I'm good."
Right. I just always wanted to kill Stiltman, but like. He
was always looking down on me.
Like he can't shoot Dr. Doom in the face.
No.
He can't kill Norman Osborn. He can't do all the things that he would do. But if you turn him into an angel or a Frankenstein monster or an Agent of the Hand, you can kind of like keep Punisher books out without doing that. Or you put him in the Max universe and you have him just kill child rapists and stuff. Like you just go full tilt with that. But only a few people do that.
Yeah.
And can sell those books. But this is just another story in a long history of like Marvel being like, I don't know what to do with Punisher. Hey, Aaron, you got an idea? Or Aaron went, I know what to do with the Punisher.
Yeah, I got this.
I got an idea. And, I don't like Aaron's run on Avengers, but I'm loving this.
Told you. It takes one. He's a character.
Yeah.
Just a guy.
I know that in continuity, I think that they've already dealt with this. Like they did a story where like someone tried to use his family against him, and like, it doesn't matter. That last page image of Maria riddled with bullets holding Frank in like a Japanese temple far away from like Manhattan is so cool. And the art is so good.
The art looks great. It really does. And like Aaron just like what Aaron does best for me is just write like really like dope dialogue and like really
and narration.
Like the whole thing, like it's just like tight.
Yeah.
It's just really tight.
Yeah.
But like so don't like listen, if you don't like Aaron's Avengers run, this is
okay.
not it. This is not this at all, right?
No.
Like it's just not it. give this a try.
Yes.
Like,
I would recommend this series.
Me too.
It's freaking nuts.
Now, again, Punisher may not be for everybody, just like I know
No.
Conan's not for everybody either.
That's true. That's true.
But, you know,
Yeah.
if you do like a bit of the Punisher.
Yes. If you like Frank, you're going to like this book.
Yeah, probably.
Armed Armadillo. I loved the new Punisher issue. I enjoyed the art. And as for the new logo, I thought it was cool and fitting for his new role in the hand.
Mhm.
Agreed. Yeah. And, just be another thing that they use. There'll be a Marvel Legends figure of it.
Mhm.
Girk Pectus, DR reminded me how much I hate that stupid trope where a bad person runs for office as an independent and wins somehow. Just keep this party vague. Yeah, they like to do that. Brady White, my introduction to Aaron was his Wolverine stuff. That was when I noticed how good writing can be. Because of Avengers, I forgot how good he is as a writer. Hope y'all are doing great. Keep it up. Thanks, Brady.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah. Will I Am Golden? Is it me or is the new logo looks like a stylized skull and crossbones? Yeah, kind of.
Yeah, I couldn't put it in my brain.
Yeah, no, it is well.
There it is.
Yeah, it is well executed in terms of like whatever it's going for. But it's not iconic. Like I don't remember it.
No, but
But like Frank's logo, the one that's been co-opted is the one from the Tom Jin movies. So Kevin Myers, you guys have sold me. Buying Punisher after work. Well, check it out, man. I hope you enjoy
for sure.
it. Keenan Meyer, I always thought Frank would fit better as a Deadshot type anti-hero or agent if S.H.I.E.L.D. assassin, where he can kill, but it's controlled. I don't know. Thinking about that Punisher Spider-Man cover, first appearance. Yeah. It's a great image.
I think the problem is that they've taken Frank in such a way where like that level of control he wouldn't jive with for very long.
Yes. No, it's true. And we've seen it before.
Like he's his own. He just wants to be a free agent.
Yeah.
Because at some point S.H.I.E.L.D. would ask him to do something he didn't agree with.
Oh, they've done that before.
Yeah.
Like they've done that.
They crossed the line.
Yeah, exactly. Adam Tenhaus says, keep them lights on.
Thank you.
Man. Thank you very much.
Appreciate that.
And that's it, I think, right? That's all the books?
Yes, because I forgot to read Sabretooth. And by forgot, I meant I just bought it.
Yeah.
Now.
That's
like
fine.
while we were, I was like,
oh yeah.
Because literally, like I was looking at something and Sabretooth showed up and I was like, damn it.
Yeah. And we'll recommend some books now. So let's talk about some comics that are coming out that we think you should pick up.
All right, I'm gonna say 10 Lives of Wolverine, number 5. This is the one I like better. We'll see what happens at the end of it. Part of this, I think, does just have to do with Cassara's art.
Yeah.
I think it's Cassara.
I believe it is, yes.
But I freaking love Josh Cassara's art. And I just want to look at it forever. So I'm really interested in that and to see where this is going to end up finishing up. The cover seems to promise possibly that
the crossover.
This is where like the 10 deaths of Wolverine and the 10 lives of Wolverine are going to meet, or maybe in these issue 5s for both of them. So we'll see. Oh my gosh.
Wow.
No, I was just like, are they going to make Wolverine, who's lost right now to them, go back into like Wolverine's body, but like not his body, the other one,
the future body,
which gets rid of the phalanx for
and then undoes it all? That'd be fun.
I don't know. Anyway,
I'd see that.
I'm also gonna give a shout out to Eternals: The Heretic.
What a cover!
Isn't it gorgeous? Look at that. This is why Ribbit keeps getting work. Look at that. But this is about Thanos' grandfather.
Oh.
So Uranus, the Undying.
Mm-hmm. The art is by Edgar Salazar, by the way.
Oh, is it? Well,
not this cover, but like the interiors.
Oh, okay. So it's wait, scroll down. Maybe it's not him then.
Oh no, and
it's
Ryan
not.
Bowden.
No. It's Andrea. It's Andrea. No, that can't be right because that's not Andrea Sorrentino there.
Yeah, that's definitely freaking.
I don't know.
That's
who cares? Look at all I know is that cover's lovely. First of all, Kieran Gillen seems to really just be happy to exploring Thanos, which is funny because it's like I feel like people are like done with Thanos.
Yeah.
But I think now that's kind of like people don't really care anymore. He's just like, I'm just going to explore things.
Yeah.
On the Eternal side of it because clearly the movies aren't going to do that.
Yeah.
At least maybe not. We'll see.
We're not seeing any more movies.
But yeah, so you're not going to get Ribic in this if you don't like Ribic. Gillen's been doing these like little one-offs here, so yeah.
Yeah. Next up.
Oh, this is a like little series that I've picked up. It's an image book. It's written by Joe Hill with art by Zoe Thorogood. It's also written by David M. Booher because Booher's taking a Joe Hill novella or short story, I can't remember which it is, and making it into a comic,
and adapting it,
which is funny because Hill knows how to write comics, but I guess he just didn't feel like doing it. It's Rain. This book is so interesting, and I don't know why I can't get enough of it. The concept is these two girls are going to start their lives together, right? And then like this like rain comes, and the rain is a bunch of glass needles that falls from the sky, and it kills all these people who are outside, and it's not stopping. Like it does stop, but then it's coming back.
Okay.
And so yeah, like she's on a journey right now, our protagonist who's left, to go tell the other girl's father, because like the mom died too.
Ugh.
So it's like, I don't know why I'm like so like, where is this going? But I can't help myself. I gotta know more about Rain.
Yeah.
So that's what I got. It's kind of a lighter month or week for me.
Yeah.
But I will definitely, I'm sure, find other things as we go along, things I didn't know. So it's just a little sampling of some things that I'm interested in.
Yeah. I'm going to recommend Nightwing number 90 from Tom Taylor and Geraldo Borges. The last 2 issues were fun. It's Nightwing and Flash. It's Wally West. So I'm hyped. Sounds fun.
Where's Redondo?
He's on the cover. Batman the Knight from Chip Zdarsky and Carmine Di Domenico. This series is fantastic, and you know, if you want a preview of what the formation of the Batman that Zdarsky is going to be doing in the future on the main title, you couldn't do worse than checking this out. It's going to be great. It's a great series, fantastic, and a book that I can't wait to read is Batman Superman World's Finest #1 with art by Dan Mora, written by Mark friggin' Waid.
Wow.
Mark Waid in his triumphant kind of semi-return to DC on a regular basis with this, I think, mini-series, Batman Superman World's Finest, with Dan Mora, man. Holy crap. What a great idea.
I am so glad that Dan Mora, like, is in the mainstream now.
Yeah. Yeah. Because, you know.
More Dan Mora art.
Because all he did was the Once and Future. So it's like, okay, if you can keep doing Once and Future.
Yeah.
You know?
He did Klaus, too.
Oh, Klaus. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
He's done plenty of things, but those are the ones that we talked about.
Exactly. And there's a book that's coming out that remind me I got to go pick up the first 11 issues of this series, Green Lantern number 12 from Jeff Thorne and Tom Rainey. I like Tom Rainey's art.
Nice.
And I see him at like conventions a lot. So
oh, we should go tell him that.
I know. I'm like, hey, man, I told him the first time. But that was a good like 10 years ago. But Jon Stewart's been getting some serious representation, and he has been it's been a long time coming.
Yes. Where it's not just about him like causing the destruction of a planet.
Oh yeah, or him like trying to atone for it in some way.
Yeah, like listen, everyone in the DC universe has skeletons in their closet, all right? We don't always harp on all of them.
Right? Yeah, no, it's true. Well, when you have like 17 Green Lanterns, like, you know,
I guess so.
It's just kind of an issue. But yeah, but this is the last issue. So, you know, it'll be a great opportunity to go back and like check out the entire series, because like a 12-issue mini. There you go. You know, I love those. I'm sorry, I'm just looking at this Wonder Woman 785, because for a second I was like, oh, is Dead Earth coming back? No, it's just cool. It's just her in front of fire.
Yeah, because there is a Wonder Woman event going on. I'm currently not going to be focused on picking it up, but it's only because I'm working on something else for our channel.
Yes,
so
that's right.
I don't want to get everything all mixed up in my head.
No, it's true. Davey 900, my favorite issue of the last 2 weeks, still Dark Knights of Steel number 5. Superman Son of Kal-9 didn't feel like a complete story. It's a 2-part crossover. Yeah, I also enjoyed Dark Knights of Steel. It's a great series, and it just keeps going, man. Holy crap. But yeah, we want to thank you so much for hanging out with us. We were very lucky to have you. Don't forget, if you want to meet us, come over to the Joe Kubert School of Art on March 26th at 2 p.m., and you can shop for comics at Dewey's Comic City and more. If you want more information, check the community tab. The community tab. Exactly. But yeah, that's it. We'll see you guys later. Thanks a lot for hanging out with us, everybody.
Bye.
Oh, and watch Tiffany on twitch.tv/ComicPop.
Yeah, we're going to play Elden Ring. I'm going to get mad at it and not know what I'm doing. So come on over. It's a good time, guaranteed.
Good time, guaranteed. But not by you.
No.